going to see that drama in the next 2 days here. This will be our second straight Olympic trials in which we've come here to the city of Iowa City and to Carver Hawkeye Arena at the University of Iowa to showcase our sport in its best light. And we're really looking forward to bringing you the Olympic trials over the next few days. When we're done, we'll have 18 Olympic trials champions. 9 of those champions will be guaranteed a spot in Rio, and the other 9 will have to go out and earn that spot in some international events. And something we're excited about, NBC not only is showing the finals on NBC Sports Network, but they're going to stream every match. So anyone who can't get here, although I think that we still might have a ticket or two available, we're encouraging people to come on out and buy those last few tickets up. But if they can't, they can see it on NBC. So the rest of our country is going to have a chance to enjoy the same great competition that we're all going to see in Carver Hawkeye. So to start off, before we get to our athletes, I'd like to introduce 2 major leaders who are going to come up and give a few welcoming statements. If you have any questions for either of them, then you can talk to them at the end, or just raise your hand and we'll let you ask a question now. And then we'll go through the program with the athletes. So it's my distinct pleasure to introduce a man I've been working with for many years, a true leader in wrestling for the United States and around the world. USA Wrestling's president, James Ravenak. And I'm going to ask him to talk about our decision to return to Iowa City for the Olympic trials, and also what fans can expect when they see the wrestling over the next 2 days. James?
Thank you, Gary. Well, he asked me to talk a little bit about what made the decision to come back to Iowa City, and it was pretty easy. That when we left 4 years ago, Rich and I were driving back, and we said, let's call Dan and see if 4 years from now we're coming back, because it was unbelievable with the fans, with the energy, the dynamics of all our athletes sitting right here 4 years ago was great. And we decided then that this would be our venue for the Olympic trials. That's what brought us to this. And, it's my pleasure to bring and welcome Josh Schomburg with the Coralville, Iowa Convention Bureau Center that's doing all the work to help us get through. So Josh, I'd like to come on up, but I want to thank the city of Iowa and Coralville for my great athletes up to the time.
Well, thank you. It's you're not here to listen to me, so I'll be very brief. I appreciate the opportunity to, obviously, on behalf of our community, to host the Olympic trials again. This is a very big deal. Obviously, Iowa and wrestling go hand in hand. It's truly part of the fabric of our state and community. This organization doesn't happen with just the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Gene Taylor's here. He's the Deputy Athletic Director for the University of Iowa, and his entire team is really the one that's putting it on. We just go where they tell us to go and do what they tell us to do. And obviously we win this. We don't win this, and it keeps returning without Coach Dan Gable. And he's here as well, and he'll be happy to answer your questions following this news conference. So hope you have a great time here in Iowa City and Coralville, and we look forward to having seen you again in 2020. Thank you.
I'm so short, I gotta make this thing go all the way. Thank you. Now I'd like to present 5 of the greatest athletes in the world. We're here to try to earn a spot in the Olympic Games in Rio. They've represented our country with pride and success during this Olympic cycle. And it's because of these athletes that we're all here. We have over 230 wrestlers in the 3 Olympic styles, men's freestyle, women's freestyle, and Greco-Roman. And they've all traveled here to pursue their Olympic dream. And all 5 of the people that are in front of you, if they win their matches and end up as champions, have earned a ticket to Rio de Janeiro for the Olympic Games. So this is how we'll do it. I'm going to ask each of them a question and ask them to answer it. And they'll pass the microphones around, and then when I'm done, we'll open it up for questions. I'm going to ask the athletes to make sure they put the microphone fairly close so you guys can hear what they're saying. And once we're done with the formal questions that you have, we'll open it up for one-on-ones with the athletes throughout. We'll split it up around the room so you guys have room to be able to talk to each of them. So I'm going to start at the far end, and just being polite, make sure we go with our women's athlete first. She also has the most gold medals here, so we're going to start with Adeline Gray. Adeline, my question for you is, since your last Olympic trials here 4 years ago, you've won 3 world gold medals and added a 4th world medal. And I'd like you to talk about what in your mind you feel are the key factors that have allowed you to have just such tremendous success during this Olympic cycle, and how that journey is going to take you to your Olympic dream.
Yeah, so I've had a really great run these last 3 years. I've been 35 matches straight undefeated and just really had a lot of success on and off the mat. So I've just been really pleased with where I am with my wrestling and just continuing to get better. So I'm looking forward to getting this kind of weekend solidified and then going on to Rio. As far as the factors that really have contributed to my success, it was listening to my body. I think that in the first couple of years, I was just trying to figure out what it is, what this kind of like entire world is about. There's so much to this. There's qualifications, there's world championships, there's qualifying for those worlds, and I think it's so much deeper than just the Olympic year, which is what people see, and it takes some time to get used to that. And once you get used to that, you can start to become a professional athlete and start to listen to your body and start to learn exactly what you need. And so thankfully my coach responded really well to me wanting to take my training into my own hand, and he's helped me just kind of really fine-tune when I'm feeling great, let's push it, and when I'm not feeling great, let's pull back and make sure that I'm ready to step on the mat. We've really had success kind of sticking with we call them a couple hashtags, just making sure my body feels good enough, and then just getting the job done. So it's been great. I'm looking forward to feeling healthy and just excited to head to Rio.
Thank you, Adeline. To her left, I guess you'd call him this year's wrestling sensation. In September, we were in Las Vegas, Nevada for the World Championships. And at the age of 19, he became the youngest American to ever win a senior world championship in the sport of wrestling. And he had to beat the reigning world champion from Russia in the finals to do that. And then maybe a few weeks ago, you guys might have been with me in Madison Square Garden to see him win his first NCAA championship in heavyweight, one of the greatest heavyweight finals I think we've seen in a long time, or at least since I've been going, and that's close to 4 decades. So it's Kyle Snyder, and Kyle, I have a question for you. Now that the NCAA tournament's over and you're here at the Olympic trials, could you tell us your perspective of how the decision to come out of Olympic red shirt and go back and wrestle for Ohio State has helped you in your quest to be an Olympic champion?
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer to that is pretty simple. The more you compete, the more you allow yourself to be able to learn and improve from the mistakes that you make in the match, and even the things that you do well, you can learn to do even better. So, I mean, while I was competing in the folk style season, I guess the last half, I really wasn't wrestling much folk style. I was wrestling all freestyle, and I still was able to compete in the international events that I planned on competing in. So really the only thing that benefited me from wrestling the college season was that I was able to get 11 more matches under my belt before I came to the Olympic trials. And within those 11 matches, I feel like I've learned a lot of things that I can improve on. And even since the national tournament in March, which was just like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, something like that. I think I'm a better wrestler from then till now. So, simple answer is the more you compete, the better you're going to get.
Just a quick follow-up question. How much better do you have to be this year to have the same kind of achievements you had last year?
My goal is always to improve as a wrestler, always to learn more and become the best that I can possibly be. But I think really that depends on what the rest of the world is doing. I mean, they're training hard and they're improving, then I'm going to have to get better too. And I'm sure that's what they are doing, and that's how I train, thinking. but I really don't worry about what they're doing too much. As long as I focus on myself, listen to my coaches, and train as hard as I possibly can every single day, then I should be all right.
Thank you, Kyle. To his left, this guy probably had one of the shortest trips to get here for the Olympic trials, since he's from Iowa City. He won the NCAA championships here for the Hawkeyes. He's been on 2 world teams for the United States heading into our trials. Tony Ramos. Tony, could you tell us how special and what it would be like for you to reach your goal of being an Olympic team member, but also doing it in a place, Carver Hawkeye Arena, where you've had such a great long history? Talk a little bit about this opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of special moments in Carver Hawkeye Arena. A lot of fans remember probably the biggest matches, Penn State, Oklahoma State. And I've never lost in Carver Hawkeye Arena. So, it'd be I think it's a huge advantage to me to have it here, and it's going to be another big moment in my career, or just another experience in Carver Hawkeye Arena to go out there and, get the job done. This is just another stepping stone to what the end all is, and, I got to go through 4 matches right now to claim my state to go to Rio. And, I'm excited to compete in Carver Hawkeye Arena again. I can't wait to feel the energy and all the fans. I know that first match is going to be really emotional coming out of the tunnel, and just, I remember in 2012 how loud everyone was when they announced Mike Zadek or Brett Metcalf. So I'm really excited for that.
Just another question. It was probably only a few weeks ago you qualified this weight for the Olympics. Could you talk about the challenge that was? I mean, obviously, half of our weights are still needed to be qualified, and you were able to get that done. Talk a little bit about taking that responsibility on for the country and yourself.
Yeah, that was a big relief. The one thing you don't want to do is win the Olympic trials and not have a for sure spot yet, and then got to travel 2 weeks later and make weight again overseas. So that was, a big relief for me. And, I didn't win the Pan Am Games, but I got done what I needed to get done there to make the opportunity of wrestling in Rio. And now we're just getting better and moving forward. And now I got to be at my best this weekend.
Thanks, Tony. We're going to move on to a couple of Greco-Roman wrestlers. To Tony's left, we have a Minnesota native who went to Northern Michigan for the Greco-Roman wrestling program and to get an education, and now trains full-time at the Olympic Training Center. The winner of world bronze medal the last 2 years for the United States in Greco-Roman. This is Andy Bisek. Andy, I'd like to ask what you've really learned in the last 2 world championships about yourself and about the competition that's going to help you this week at the Olympic trials and ultimately, if things go well, at the Olympic Games.
Well, taking 3rd in the world the last 2 years, has been able to show me that I'm fully capable of being the best in the world. I've beat multiple world champs, gold medalists in both those world championship tournaments. And coming in here brings a lot of confidence that this is my spot to take to own, and I'm feeling really good moving into looking ahead. So coming away to be an Olympic team member from this weekend and looking to improve upon those 2 bronze medals in Rio.
Now, you wrestled the last Olympic trials, right?
Yes.
So what did you learn from wrestling in that event? You didn't make the team that time that you're going to use to help yourself this time.
Well, like Tony was talking about the atmosphere here, it was definitely a loud environment. And I remember the way it felt stepping out there. Excited to feel that again and come away with a better result.
Thanks a lot, Andy. I got a short story before we have you speak or listen to the next guy. It's been about 10 years that I was working at USA Wrestling and working with Robbie Smith, a great guy, an excellent athlete. We went to a competition, it might have been the Schultz tournament in Colorado Springs. I had his parents come and grab me and say, you know what? You guys keep spelling his name wrong. it's R-O-B-B-Y. You spelled it R-O-B-B-I-E for like 10 years. I said, well, why didn't you tell me? You know? So I think for the last 4 years I've been correcting it. So today when I saw an IE, I had to get out some white out, make sure that everyone spells Robbie's name. This is on me, it's one of my jobs now.
He was afraid of my father.
Anyway, so I haven't misspelled it since, but it's kind of funny that for a decade they let me spell it wrong until somebody finally tracked me down and said, Gary, you gotta get it right. So anyway, to my right is a California guy who's made our last 3 world teams in Greco-Roman, been 5th in the world twice. And I know a lot of you guys may remember his match in Las Vegas for the bronze medal when he got way behind and just really gave a spectacular performance against Makov of Russia in that bronze medal match. You know, and that's my follow-up on that question to Robbie is that when you wrestle, the crowd tends to really get fired up, and those matches are often entertaining. I mean, is that what you're trying to do to entertain the people, or is that just kind of what happens when you wrestle with your style and your attitude about wrestling?
I'm just going out to compete, and I mean, I compete to the fullest I possibly can give, and if that is spectacular in fashion, then that's what I'm going to do. I like picking people up, I like throwing them on their heads, and when I do it as a big guy, I guess it looks pretty. But no, I go out and I want to put on a show, and I like to say I'm an ambassador for this sport. And Greco-Roman wrestling, when it's done properly, it's an art form, and it's beautiful. And when you can see a 286-pound man throw another 286-pound man over his head and make him land on his back, it's kind of cool looking. So yeah, when I go out, I try to put on a performance. I try to wrestle to my best ability. I give it all my heart, and I don't give up. So when I'm wrestling, it's fun. I have a smile on my face, and I love doing it. So.
And how do you picture it this week going Sunday when you're wrestling? Obviously, you guys all do a lot of visualization. Well, what's the tournament like if it goes the way Robbie Smith wants it to?
I mean, it's all one match at a time. But I would be lying if I say I want to be that. I'm not lying when I want to say I want to be that Olympic team member, and I'm going out there every time, mind focused, ready to wrestle, and putting on performance for these great Iowa fans. Because in 2012 I came out here and it was a spectacle, and I really appreciate it. It was the biggest crowd I've ever wrestled in front of my whole life, and you know, it was a blessing, and I want to show these people what I have, and I can't wait to do it. And it's one step at a time, one match at a time, to get to the finals, win the finals, and move on to Rio. So.
Thank you, Robbie. Anyone have any specific questions? Just identify yourself and tell me who we should talk to, and we'll pass the microphone around. Again, we'll start in the front. Mike Finn, please.
This is a question for Tony. It's been a couple of years since you've been in Carver. You already talked about it. Can you talk about what the biggest adjustments you've had to make from being part of a college team where you have teammates, all these fans, to always going by yourself and trying to reach the same type of goals?
I think the biggest adjustment for me is the time spread between competitions. You're not wrestling every weekend. There's maybe one a month here, one every couple months. So there's a different peaking process, a different off time, on time. I wouldn't say the fans or anything are any different because, you know, still walking around town, I get the same support. Still get the same support from my family. And, you know, I can't wait to be back out there in, 2 days.
What did you miss from the college element that you wish you had now?
I guess kind of like Snyder was saying, more competitions on a regular basis, getting more matches. And I think maybe moving forward on the next cycle, that's something I might do, even if it's wrestling in the weight class at some events and things like that. Just to get more mat time, more mat experience.
Next question. Yes.
Rachel Wow from Star Tribune, Minneapolis. I have 2 questions for Adeline. How much has women's wrestling grown over this past quad, and with getting the 2 additional Olympic weights, how much do you think that will help it grow in the future?
The growth has been amazing. I think it's just, we're adding colleges every single year. We're having a lot of young girls just trying out the sport and really falling in love with it. So it's awesome to see these young ladies who are going out there and realizing that they have this athleticism inside of them. And it's a really great transition to kind of see myself as a role model for those young girls and kind of show them how great my life is. I live a really amazing life thanks to USA Wrestling and thanks to this amazing journey that I'm on. And it's a right that women should have. And I think it's something that we need to kind of promote more to those young girls as this sport being an option. Because you look at these young men next to me and they just are, they're spectacular. They're living great lives and they're getting to chase dreams. And that's something that should be allowed for young girls to have the same opportunity. And so I'm seeing that more and more. I'm just so excited that every Facebook post I get about like, my little daughter got on the mat today and she just is so much more confident in school, or just really has found her place, you know, even if it's just realizing that she learned a new move. Those are very important things that I think that the female population is missing out on, not looking at combat sports. So the growth is awesome. With the additional 2 weight classes, I mean, I think first of all, it's added my weight, which gave me an opportunity to go into the mix, which I think is great for Team USA, great for, you know, myself. And moving forward, just having more opportunities are going to put more girls on the mat and allow that dream to really be allowed to grow and really allow more women to see this as an option, because they can see what they can accomplish. You know, winning an Olympic gold medal, going on and making world teams. Those are all spectacular things that drive people to be better, not just on the mat but off the mat. And I just think that is an opportunity that should be open to males and females.
Another question? Right over here.
Christian Thomas, Florida Wrestling. This question is for Robbie. Last couple of years, Robbie, you've run through everyone domestically, not really had a challenging match. Is it easy to get complacent when you're sitting so far ahead of your competition, or do you think the competition could be getting a little closer? You got young guys like Adam Kuhn that have been climbing the ranks.
I mean, I train the same way for everybody. I wrestle every match like it's a world Olympic finals. You know, I go out there to win, and I just wrestle the way I know how to wrestle. And if I give it 100% every single time, I feel confident in my ability of how to get the match done. I don't look past anybody. I don't get complacent. I just go out and wrestle because it's fun and I like doing it. And like I said before, I like beating people up and throwing them on their head. So that's what I go out to do every single time. And that's, you know, I just go out and have fun. And if I get complacent, then I'm not getting better for when I have to wrestle at the Worlds or the Olympics, because I'm just settling. I never settle. I always want to get better. So.
Any other questions? Alex?
This is Kyle. Obviously, you've proven your success over the last year, but wondering about your thoughts on not just competing against the 2012 Olympic representative in your weight class, but the 2012 Olympic champion. Potentially.
My thoughts on it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, potentially. I mean, he's got to make it through the challenge bracket first, and there's a lot of tough guys in that bracket. But definitely excited about it. I mean, I've wrestled him 3 times last year. We wrestled a lot in practice, a lot of simulation matches, a lot of just drilling together and getting to know how we wrestle a little bit. And I'm excited to see whether or not I've improved over this last year. People are saying that this is one of the best versions of Jake Varner that they've seen in a long time, and I'm excited to see what that feels like. And if he does make it through, then I'm definitely prepared.
Another question?
Gary.
Yes.
Fred Roberti from Maximize Living. So just, I guess we'll start with Adeline. Maybe you can answer this, but feel free for any of the panel to jump in. But so in a sport like wrestling, it's so physically demanding. What part of your preparation to keep your body in tune to keep up with what you really want to achieve out on the mat?
There's a lot that goes into it. I mean, I think it first starts with nutrition, being hydrated. I think it goes into making sure you're recovering from whatever you put your body through during the workouts. Massage therapy, going to see the chiropractor. I mean, those are all things that we do on a weekly basis to make sure that our bodies are feeling great. We just did 1 minute goes in a cold tub, which I don't think anybody wants to do when it's snowing in April in Iowa. So I think it just shows the dedication that you have to really have that complete package going into top events like this and doing a lot of stuff maybe you don't really feel like doing, but it's good for your body and it's going to make it so I feel great on Olympic Trials Day.
Anyone else?
I mean, it's Adeline nutrition, hydration, but also, massage therapy, getting the right stuff done, chiropractic, stuff like that, because, you never know when something's going to happen, especially for us in Greco, when we are doing moves that you're back arching, hitting your head all the time, getting your neck adjusted, stuff like that. So it's a full body, just taking care of yourself and really making sure you're at the best ability that day. And that's, what you have to do. It's part of the job. It's not, it is a sport, but it's a job. Your tool is your body, so you got to be prepared. So that's a big thing for us.
One other question over here.
Jim Capel with ESPN.com. This is for anybody. What are the difficulties of cutting weight to make sure that you can make weight?
That's not my question.
You
look in the middle right here.
I think the biggest difficulties are you get a lot of cravings from your diet when you're starting to get down in weight in those first couple of weeks. I know when I'm not cutting weight, I'm big on, I like my Mountain Dew, I like my Reese's, I like my junk food. But this past 2 months have been the best, couple months that I've ever done with controlling my weight and controlling what my diet's been. And that is because I had made weight at the Pan Ams a month ago. My diet starts about a month out, really strict. Cutting out pop, cutting out those bad, carbs, things like that. And it takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication. There's a lot of support from the outside. If you're doing it on your own, it's going to be really hard because there are those temptations. And, I get reminders from my coaches, I get reminders from my family, my wife, when I do want to, maybe snag a Coke out of the fridge or a Reese's out of the cupboard. But, I just had fans yesterday drop me off a whole bag of Reese's. And my wife told me they were trying to sabotage me. It's been going good. I was only about 3 pounds over this morning, which is pretty unreal for me at this time. My body feels great. I haven't touched plastics or anything like that at all since I've been doing this weight cut, and that's really good too. Freestyle, one of the big things you see is guys throwing on plastics, really shut off that water weight. I've been doing it right, and I'm feeling good, and I'm excited to go out and compete.
Maybe Andy can talk a little bit. Obviously you've been at the same weight for a number of years. That's probably a little bit of a challenge, right?
Yeah, I've been at the same weight. It's just went up 1 kilo when they made the weight class adjustments, but it's relatively the same weight. And I've gone through different periods where I've put on, a number of, extra pounds of muscle and then try to come back down to the weight class. It's kind of just figuring out where your body fits best in proportions, then getting, kind of trying to cut down everything at the last minute and be at your optimal self. But just, weight cutting is, like Tony said, it's a process about making that commitment a month out or something, and you got to realize that, or I help try to realize that I'm not trying to just give up these things for good or really guide myself with a treat. If I feel like I need something sweet, I'll have a healthier choice that's sweet and try to go in that direction and realize that someday I'm going to have to be making these choices for a lot more than wrestling, just because I'll be in a bad spot.
We have one more question, or are we good? Yes.
Jared Becker, Director of Sports for Walden College's TV and radio station. This message for Kyle. When it comes to freestyle wrestling, how do you feel that has helped you achieve that NCAA championship, and how do you feel it helped with your mat awareness in your final match?
I started wrestling freestyle probably when I was 8 or 9, just because there was a club near my house that had, they wrestled freestyle in the summer and stuff, so it was cool that I was able to start it early, and I think it's helped me a ton. My folk style, the way that I wrestle folk style is similar to the way that I wrestle freestyle. I really don't roll over my back too much. I kind of got to be more aware of it from the other person that I'm wrestling, because even these heavyweights sometimes like to jump over and do those funky positions. But I think it's helped a ton. I think that it's helped my positioning, getting my hips in my shots, better baseline defense and stuff like that with competing, and then just controlling the center of the mat and being the offensive person, because that's something that freestyle and all these styles, that's what the referees want to happen, and that's how we train to compete.
So at this point, what we're going to do is let the athletes come out from behind the tables here, maybe spread around, and you're free to come up and speak to them. We'll do one-on-ones for about half an hour. If there's a bunch of you around one person, certainly you guys can figure out to take turns and speak with them. I just want to say, if you haven't picked up your media credential, the Iowa City Coralville CBD is just right up the end of this driveway at that intersection you had to come through. We get started early tomorrow. Media is allowed to come in, I'm told, a little after 7. We'll get started, and we'll have 2 days of great competition. If you have any needs at all, USA Wrestling staff is there to help you, along with our press staff the University of Iowa has put together for you. We're looking forward to a real great weekend, and we appreciate each and every one of you coming here to cover the sport of wrestling. So thank you for your time, and hopefully you can get some other good interviews while we're here. Thank you.